All right, well, it is 101. Let's get started. And thank you for joining me. I know there's going to be some other people who are jumping on in a little bit. And some people contacted me and said, I can't make it. I'll catch you on the replay. So fair enough. All right. So for some of you on the call today, this is going to be some repeat information, but some of it's going to be brand new to you. And kind of thinking about the idea of, do you struggle to coach, mentor, and communicate with your direct reports? And just kind of in my morning today, I was scrolling through Instagram today just because I like to see the news and what's going on. And I saw a quote today that I thought was amazing. And it's by a guy named Dwayne Harris. He is a former Muay Thai fighter and current Muay Thai coach. So if you're not familiar with that, it's kind of like kickboxing. And he says coaching isn't always about comfort. Coaching isn't always about comfort. And I thought, yeah, like coaching, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's marital counseling, coaching, whatever it is, it's not always about comfort. In fact, most of the time, it's about deficiencies in some way, shape, or form. So coaching people through their deficiencies and growing them into a place that's better for them. But when we say it like that, coaching people is about mentoring them and coaching them in their deficiencies. What if we said it in a different way? Because that kind of sounds like, ugh, that's kind of negative. Like, I don't like that. Like, these people are no good, or man, somebody's already always messing up. And it's not about that. It is not about that. Coaching is sometimes growing a person to a place they didn't know they could go on their own. So think about that for a second. Coaching somebody may be about growing them to a place they didn't know they could go. Now, if you are in leadership in any way, shape, or form, and you're watching this and you have direct reports, you know that sometimes you see something in somebody that they don't see within themselves. And you're like, oh man, they've got the gift. They got the magic sauce. They got the juice or whatever it is. They could be amazing at this, but they don't know that. They don't know that. And so your job is to bring that out of them in however it is that you coach and mentor them along. So whether it's in business, whether it's in athletics, whether it's whatever it is, how do you coach and mentor them to bring them to a place where they're like, oh, shucks, I can do this, or I'm really good at this, or I didn't know this about myself. Very early on in this webinar series, I talked about a former teacher that I used to work with, and I used the name Sally. So those of you who've watched this from the beginning, you'll remember the story where I talked about Sally. And Sally was an amazing teacher, but she didn't know it. She was an amazing teacher and had really, really good gifts at things. And so what I saw when I would go through her classroom and do observations, I said, hey, Sally, that thing that you're doing, I want you to take that and run with it. And specifically what it was using higher order questioning with her students. So those of you who are watching this who are kind of familiar with the education realm, higher order questioning is not just like, okay, red or blue. Oh, it's blue. That's recall. That's low level questioning. But if you say, can you tell me how red and blue are made? That's a much higher level question because they have to synthesize different pieces of information to answer your question, and it's an open-ended. So asking higher order thinking questions is a way to spur learning and get people to think outside the box. So she was really good at that. And she was on the forefront. Like, this was kind of hitting the education field about 20 years ago, and she was on the forefront of that. And I saw some really interesting things starting to develop with her students. And so what I said to her, I was like, hey, Sally, I want you to take this and apply this across all subjects, not just in language arts, but see if you can apply it to math, social studies, science, and run with it. I'm going to give you carte blanche to run with it. Okay. I'll check back next week. Now, stop. Hard stop right there. That sentence took me 15 seconds to say. And that was my coaching for her for the week. That's what I want you to do. Run with it. It's doing great things. Peace. I'm out. And that was it. So I've always said that exceptional leadership can be done most of the time in short bursts of 10 to 20 seconds. And that was an example of that. And that was what I did with Sally over the course of a month. So the next week I came back, I observed her classroom. How's it going? Hey, this thing is growing and developing in a really good way. What are you seeing? So I'd let her give me some responses. Okay, yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that. That's great. Fantastic. That's really cool. All right. Sally, keep it up. I'll check back next week. And then what I did was I went to her grade level partner teacher and I said, hey, do you know what Sally's doing over there with this higher level questioning that she's doing? Oh, no. I was like, well, it's really interesting. Ask her about it because we're seeing some really cool results. Hard stop. I left. Again, another 10 to 15-second statement to another teacher. I piqued that teacher's curiosity. Now that teacher and Sally are having a conversation. Do you see what's happening? I'm starting to multiply that and grow it. So then the next week I come back to Sally and I'm like, Sally, I want you to present this at the grade level meeting because it's really good. And I want to see you present this. Now, what Sally doesn't know, and I'm going to give you guys kind of the end result here to speed up the story, was what I was prepping Sally to do was present this to the school. That's what I wanted Sally to do. I wanted her to lead a staff meeting with this information because I knew it was gold. I knew it was going to go somewhere, and there was some good data and research on it. But Sally didn't know that. And Sally, had I gone to Sally week one and said, hey, this is great. Will you lead a staff meeting on that? She would have passed out. Heck no. No way am I talking in front of the whole school. No way would I do that. Okay. But what am I doing? I am growing her to a place that she didn't know she could go on her own. So she presented at the grade level staff meeting. That goes really well. Then I say, okay, give her a week. Now the other grade level teacher is starting to implement some of these things. So what do? I'm walking down the hallway. I see a different grade teacher. Hey, do you see what grade so-and-so is doing down there? Have you talked to them about their higher order questioning? No, I haven't. Well, they're both doing it now. They're seeing some amazing results within their students. You should go ask them about it. Again, I'm not saying anything different. I'm repeating the same thing, but I found a formula that worked. And so I'm just growing, and I'm growing this thing. So in another couple weeks, guess what meeting Sally is leading? The wing meeting. She is now leading several grade levels and telling them about this, giving them insights, examples. And now we have other teachers who are like, yeah, totally worked in my classroom too. This is really great. So another month goes by. I'm encouraging Sally and I'm like, hey, Sally, I got a big ask for you. I'm going to ask you a big favor and I want you to say yes because you don't know this, but I've been preparing you for this. And she kind of looked at me and she's like, are you going to ask me to present this at the building wide staff meeting? And I was like, yes, I am. Okay, I'll do it. And I said, would you have done this if I asked you to do it 2 months ago? She was like, absolutely not. I would have told you to go jump in a lake. Okay, fair. But you're there now and you're going to do it and you're going to do awesome. And let's fast forward. I've left that school, gosh, probably more than 15 years ago now. And I found out that after I left, a couple years after I left, guess who took my position? She did. She became dean of that same school. So anyways, she grew to a place that she didn't know she could go. And that really is what coaching is about. So if you think about sports, I know there's a lot of people who are going to watch this who are athletes or participate in sports in high school. And you've got, I for some reason always think about football coaches because football coaches, they'll grab you by the face mask and, oh, get back in there and hit number 52 and go for it. Okay, yeah. They know that you can hit number 52. They know that you can tackle number 52, but for some reason you aren't doing it. So they're trying to grow you to a place that you didn't think you could go on your own. It's really all it is. Now, there are positive ways to look at that, and there are negative ways to look at it. My personal philosophy, let's see if we can use positive language. Sometimes we need to be more direct and honest. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to be negative, but if we're going to do something negative, let's paint it in a positive light. Because you're more likely to get your direct reports and your staff to comply with you if they're in agreement with you. And if you come in hard and you come in a negative tone, that's going to turn people off to the ideas that you have. And you want people on board with your ideas because in the grand scheme of things, your mission, your vision, your company all need to be pointing in the same direction, and your employees need to be going in the same direction as you. So with that said, some of you are going to remember this from yesterday. How do we talk to people about negative things? Well, personally, I have a scale from 1 to 10. I see heads nodding already. You know what I'm going to say. I have a scale of 1 to 10, and that is my emotional and mental state. Now, the ranges of the scale. 5 is neutral. 5 is right in the middle. That's neutral. That means I'm good. I'm calm, cool, and collected, and I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I am just neutral. 10 is, oh my gosh, it's my birthday. You got me a pony. There's cake. There's chocolate ice cream. That's 10. I'm super excited. Here we go. 1 is I am mad. I am grumpy. I had a disagreement. Don't talk to me. Now is not a good time. So those are the ranges of that. So, but 5 is neutral. 5 is calm, cool, and collected. Professionally, what I always try to do is stay at a 5 or above, even when negative situations arise. So if something good happens and it's happy, I'll allow myself to go to a 7 or an 8. Yes, yay, that's awesome, great job, high five, let's celebrate. If something really negative happens, suck it up, Buttercup Todd, let's go, stay at a 5. Okay, yep, I understand. Yes, that is bad news. That is really bad news. We're going to work through that. Let's think about some solutions, how we're going to get through this issue. Yep, okay, great. The reason being is when people see you as calm, they stay calm. There's a funny story about a guy riding on a plane, and there's really bad turbulence, and all of a sudden the masks drop down from the overhead compartment, and people are freaking out and screaming and whatever, and the one guy's just sitting back, and he's like, yeah, that's not a big deal. Not a big deal. And his partner who's sitting next to him is kind of freaking out. He's like, how can you not be scared right now? And he's like, because I'm watching the stewardess. And the stewardess isn't worried. She's got her mask on, but she's not worried. She's calm. She's moving slowly. This is routine. If she's not worried, I'm not worried. Then all of a sudden, the guy grabs his mask and starts breathing hard. And he goes, and his partner looks at him and says, what's the matter? He says, I don't know, but the stewardess is running. So when you're in leadership positions, people are watching you. They're seeing how you react. Sometimes they may throw you a wrench just to see how you react. So if you can have a switch in your head of, I'm never going below a 5, even in a negative situation, you can do that. So let me give you a personal story about something in my life where I had to do that. It was really, really hard. I was in a position, I was an assistant principal of a school, and we had a major leadership change in the middle of the school year. And it was kind of disruptive even to the student body. And the students were not reacting well to this change. Things were really going wrong. Students started just acting all crazy. And I suspended 23 students in 1 week. That was a record for me. Now, with 23 suspensions comes 23 parent meetings. And you can imagine not every parent was happy that their student was being suspended. Most of these were for, things that, yeah, your kid punched Johnny in the face. He's got to go home for a couple of days. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I had really, really negative conversations with a lot of parents because they were mad at me. They were mad that their student was being suspended, and I took the brunt of that. Man, I got called names. I got cussed out. I got all sorts of stuff thrown at me. But I had made up in my mind that I was going to stay at a 5. Yes, Mrs. Smith, I am sorry you feel that way. No, I disagree with you. I am not a blankety blankety blank, but you have a great day anyways. Thank you. We'll see you back next week. At a 5 all the time. Now, that's an extreme situation, and I've not had another week like that in a very long time. But if I stay at a 5, I am calm, cool, and collected. And even if the person who is mad at me goes away mad and doesn't like me, they can never say that I was disrespectful to them. They will always say, yeah, all right, things have cooled down. Yep, Todd maintained his cool, and I even threw some dirt his way, and he didn't react to that. So you will gain the respect of the people that you lead and the people who don't like you sometimes when you stay at that 5. So if you can stay at a 5, and maybe you come up with a different word for yourself, that's what worked for me, and that's what I used in my head, and that's what kept me moving forward. So stay at a 5, and then you're good. So another thing that you can do, I'm looking down at my notes here because I've got some things I want to make sure that I say. When you are talking to your people and coaching them and mentoring them, and you're staying at your 5, because sometimes you have to have conversations about negative things. Can you spin them in a positive way? Sometimes, sure. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to just use direct language and a phrase that some of you have heard me say before, call the baby ugly. It is just the thing. I'm sorry. There's no way around it, but you put the handle on the wagon on the wrong end. It's broken. I'm sorry. You have to fix this, and it has to be fixed in this way, and you have to do it right away. You can do that respectfully, and you can do it directly. But if you stay at a 5, there's really no way that anybody can argue with about that. So if you come and say, hey, Todd, you put the handle on the wagon wrong. I'm sorry, but you've got to fix that. And maybe just give a little smirk or a smile. Okay. You're telling them something negative, but you're being direct, you're being honest, you're being respectful, and you're staying at your 5. Now, if you come in at like a 2 and you're like, Todd, what in the matter's wrong with you? Like, how could you do that? Like, Andy, you've done it right 35 times. How could you do it wrong? Are you dumb or something? That's coming in at like a 2. How do you think I'm going to respond to a situation like that? Like, oh, well, screw you. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. And then it's going to become an argument. But if I come in, hey, Todd, we got this wagon in. The wagon handle is on the wrong side, buddy. We need you to put it on the right side and fix that. Okay, thank you. I can't argue with that. It's direct, it's honest, it's respectful, but it's coaching me in the right way. So think about that. Sometimes you have to be direct, honest, and just call the baby ugly. And something that I have seen leaders do, and I've experienced this early on in my own leadership journey when I was first in leadership, I didn't know how to handle situations like that. Like, oh man, they did something wrong and I got to tell them that. Well, not many people enjoy conflict. And when you have to tell somebody that they are doing something wrong or need to do something in a different way, a lot of us are like, oh, that's a prime zone for conflict, and I don't want to experience conflict. So we'll enter into that conversation and we'll trip over our words. We won't say the right thing. We'll overtalk. We'll talk too much. Sometimes less is more. Hey, Todd. Yeah. This handle on the wagon is on the wrong end. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I'll fix it. Sometimes they'll correct the problem and all you have to do is raise the issue and they'll take it from there. You don't always have to come in, hey, the handle's wrong. You put it on the wrong side. You have to fix it right away. We got to get this done by 5 o'clock. All right, thanks. Well, now you're just going to machine gun that person with all these negative directives. Take a breath. Hey, Todd. Yeah. You put the handle on the wagon on the wrong side. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My bad. I'll fix it. Yep, I've done it right 35 times. I don't know what happened to me. I'll fix it. No worries. And honestly, that is most of my interactions with people when I have to bring something to them. As long as I stay at my 5 and I come in and I'm there to support them if they need something, they'll catch their own mistake as soon as I raise it. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'll fix it. No worries. Sweet. I'll see you in the break room at lunchtime. And then I leave. If somebody catches their own mistake and they tell me how they're going to fix it and it's correct, all I do is say, yup, great, and I leave. Because they've coached themselves. They've found the mistake. They've corrected it. They've fixed it. I don't need to beat a dead horse. And it also shows respect that, okay, yep, you're professional. You're an individual. You caught the mistake. You're going to do it on your own. Sweet. Okay. So with that said, here's a question for you. And I'm asking you hypothetically, you don't have to raise your hand. How comfortable are you coming alongside your staff members, your direct reports, and raising something that they may have done incorrectly? Is that something that makes you nervous? Do you get tongue-tied? Are you skittish about even entering into the conversation? What I would suggest for you is having canned responses or canned approaches. And when I say canned, I mean like a can of beans, C-A-N, can. And what do you do with a can? You open it and reach in and take out what's inside because it's already prepared. You just have to open the can and it's there. So that's why they're called canned responses. So those are prepared or pre-thought out, prepared things that you just go to automatically. You don't have to use a lot of thought when you think about these things. They're just there automatically. So one of the ones that I developed early on didn't have anything to do with approaching mistakes by my direct reports, but it was when somebody would ask me a question that I didn't know. Sometimes I would try to think about it on the fly. And sometimes, depending on the subject, I'm not real good on the fly. I need some time to think about it, research it, come up with a good response. And so, what I became comfortable doing is if somebody asked me a question I didn't know the answer to, that's exactly what I would say. Huh, I don't know, but I'll get back to you tomorrow and I'll have a really good answer for you. Or I'll get back to you tomorrow with a solution. Hey, can I get back to you tomorrow by 3:30? Will that work for you? Perfect. Yep, I'll have something for you by then. Then what does that do? That gives me time to, instead of thinking like a microwave, I can think like a crock pot and give you something really good that's been simmering for a long time that is quality. I never try to give you something hard. I always try to give you something simple that you can think about today, use tonight. So I use a lot of simple analogies. Now, I've been around some other leadership individuals and seen leadership coaches, and they've got great things. Man, they've got books, big words, fancy phrases, courses, all that. Sure. Yes. All of that stuff works. But how many are you going to, how many of you are going to remember to think like a crock pot, not a microwave? Because it's simple, it's easy, it gets the point across, and you're going to remember it. So, going back to approaching our direct reports or our employees with things that they are not doing correctly. Some of you are probably already thinking about, oh man, well, I've got to talk to somebody about this in a couple of days. And you're probably getting a little nervous thinking about it right now. You might be thinking, I don't want to annoy them. I don't want there to be a confrontation. I don't want to come off negative. I don't want them to be mad at me. Those are all very common responses that I hear leaders talking about, or new leaders who have to approach somebody with something that they're doing wrong. I talked with somebody last week who had to do this exact same thing, and I said, "All right, well, tell me how you're going to approach this with your person." And this leader's approach was, "Well, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is all the negative things that happen because of what you've done wrong." Okay, how many times are they going to want to listen to that? Probably not a lot. So I suggested, I said, tell them the thing that they've done wrong, and then tell them how that may negatively affect something else, but then tell them how to grow from that. Because if all you've done is tell them that they did something wrong and all the things that go wrong along with that, where do you go from there? Like, okay, I did this wrong. These are all the negative things, and I've got to fix it. Well, I'm not real sure how to fix it because I did it wrong already. How do I do it right? And so I said, that's when I want you to think about talking to a child. Or anytime you teach a child to do something, whether it's tie their shoes, ride a bike, any simple task that you're teaching a child. Most of us teach children in a way that's supportive, it's kind, it's encouraging. Hey, you almost got it. Great job. Now, we're not going to talk to our direct reports like a 2-year-old because that would be a little silly. But with that mindset, are you ever nervous about helping a 4-year-old learn how to ride a bike? Aside from them falling down and you having to run beside the bike or whatever, are you ever like nervous about, oh man, I think they're going to be mad at me if I give them some adjusting feedback about how they got on the bike? No. You just walk right up and you're like, hey, buddy, all right, here, we're going to get on this. I know you messed up yesterday. That's okay. We're going to try it again. Here we go. All right, put your feet in the pedals. Yup, there you go. There you go. Excellent. There we go. Yup. Hey, you're riding. Great job. Now, again, that's talking to a child, but you can do the same thing in a professional setting with your direct reports or your staff members. Hey, Todd, yep, I saw what you did yesterday. Wasn't quite right. Yep, but you caught that. Excellent. So here's what I want you to do today. Okay, yep, you already see where that's going. Fantastic. Then you're going to do step 6, then step 7, and then you've got it. Then you've got it completely done, and it's done perfectly. Excellent. Great job. I'll check back tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Same approach, same mindset, same coaching and mentoring. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I was there to support, but I was also there to offer solutions. And that's how we need to approach and talk to our direct reports and our staff. Another part of this is just getting in the sandbox. Some of you have heard me say this before. Just get in the sandbox. That's where your people are. Get in the sandbox and get dirty. They're the ones on the front lines doing the hard work. Not that your work isn't hard, but they're the ones who are doing it, and you're monitoring them, you're managing them, you're overseeing them. And if they're in there doing the work, sometimes you just get in there and do the work with them. I told a story a few weeks ago, so if this is a repeat for you, still listen. It's a good story. Back in college, I worked for Sears Roebuck and Company. Right? Yeah, who remembers Sears? Some of you younger people won't remember that. And I see you. I saw you raise your hand. And I was unloading semi trucks on the loading dock. That is one of my jobs at Sears that I had. And it, excuse me, it was summertime. It was July in New Jersey. It was like 90 degrees, and the backs of semis do not have air conditioning. It's just hot. So we were back there, and we had a semi load of air conditioners. And we had a new store manager who had just taken over the building, probably within a month or two of this incident. And I was back there with the other guys, and we're sweating through our shirts. It was just kind of gross. And he comes back there, and we didn't really know him very well yet. And our previous store manager was the store manager that would kind of come in and point fingers and give directions and then walk out and leave. Okay, sure. So he comes in and he's like, hey, you guys got a lot of air conditioners back here. Yep, we're going to get it done by 5 o'clock. Don't worry. He's like, okay, where's the hand truck? And we're like, oh, there's an extra one over there. You need it? You need to move something for you? He's like, no. He takes off his tie. He takes off his sport coat, and he starts unloading air conditioners with us. And we're like, what in the world? Like, he's the store manager. He's got nice clothes on. Unloading a semi gets dirty. Like, why would he do that? But he did it for like 30 minutes, and he helped us make a big dent in the load. Huh. What was he doing? He was getting in the sandbox with us. He was building rapport. He was showing us that he was not afraid to get his hands dirty and work down with the common guys on the loading dock. You know what else he was doing? He was building rapport and gaining respect from us. So now, when the previous store manager would come in and be like, hey, I need this done, or you go do this and point the finger and do whatever. Okay, yep, we'll get it. Yep, we'll get it. Yep. But now with the new store manager comes in, hey, Todd, could you do something for me? Yes, sir. Yep, I'll jump on it right now, because I respected him and I wanted him to respect me back. So when you kind of get in the sandbox with people and you start having conversations, you're honest, you show them that you're not afraid to get right beside them and just be in the trenches with them. That does so much for building rapport and confidence and respect with your staff. So that's what I got. That's what I got for you today. Does anybody have any questions about that, or situations or scenarios that you have that you're like, hey, Todd, I'm not sure how to handle this, or hey, I handled it this way. Do you think that's good, or anything like that? Feel free. If you're on the call now, you can raise your hand either physically, or you can use the raise your hand button down at the bottom. I'd be happy to take any questions. If you don't, that's cool too. All right. I don't see any hands, any questions, situations, or scenarios. That's all I got for you today. This was an easy one. This was a short one. So thank you for joining me. You will see the replay come out in the email in just a little bit. And also, if you have found this, for those of you who are not on the call and are watching the replay, if you have found this to be helpful, I got a question last week. Hey, Todd, do you do private coaching and consulting? Absolutely, I do. So reach out to me. You've got my email. Hit me up on social media. I would be happy to have a conversation with you to see what this looks like for your business, your corporation, or your organization. I also do work with nonprofits and churches as well. So if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Hit me up on email, social media. Until then, I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye, everybody.